Hello, Fearless Fam. This is your host, Chubi, and thank you for joining us on another episode. Today is episode 96, um, level 5 elephant, and we'll be discussing how to stop food waste. This episode is actually closely related to one of our previous episodes, season 3, episode 33, and it was about the carbon footprint. And Earth Day was on the 22nd, which was a Friday. So everything's just full circle. And I cannot wait to share these stats with you and all the information I gather about food waste, especially food waste in the United States. So let's begin with some history. So what is Stop Food Waste Day? Amy Keister is the Senior Vice President of Sustainability and Culinary for Compost Group USA and founder of Stop Food Waste Day, created in 2017 to raise consumer awareness about reducing food waste in their personal lives. Stop Food Waste Day is about educating and igniting change in the fight against wasted food. Annually celebrated on the last week of the month of April. This year it falls on April 28th. So, I don't know about you guys, but I grew up in a household of 8 people. So, all the food always got eaten. Every piece was always, nothing got thrown away. Maybe like little scraps here and there, but usually 90% of the food was always consumed. And which I never thought about it that way. I never thought about it because that wasn't not a thing in the 90s. All I know is that you needed to eat all your entire food. If not, you could not get up from that chair. How many of you grew up like that? I'm pretty sure most of us did. But yes, I never thought about that concept of, wow, food does go to waste, until you become conscious of it. Until now, when you get older and you realize, wow, like your choices and the things you're doing and how it's affecting your environment, your personal life, and everything around you. Again, we're not an island and we're all connected, and everything, this is affecting us. And I cannot wait to share the statistics with you all and all the information I gather. So the following information that I will be providing is by the nationaltoday.com. And we cannot have an episode without a little bit of history. So, pre-1700s, before the English came to America and set up shop along the East Coast, Native American tribes used the land to its fullest extent, rarely wasting any part of the animal they hunted or the food they gathered. 1856 to late 1800s, pioneers wasted nothing. Similar to the Native Americans, the first settler used the entire animal they hunted and killed. Late 1800s to 1914. Shortly before the First World War, the boom of industrialization changed not only America's economy, but global one. After the end of World War II, food became cheaper to produce and less expensive to waste. So from 2020 to today, over 80 billion pounds of food is thrown away in the U.S. each year. And by some estimations, nearly 40% of the food produced will go to waste. Hearing this just makes me think like, that's a lot of food wasted that could feed the entire world. And I sit here and if they know this, these companies, other companies that produce food and things like that, if they know this, why aren't they making it more environmentally friendly packages and food and things like that, instead of adding preservatives to keep the food to last longer when it's actually harmful to the food sometimes? Like the GMOs and things like that we grew up hearing about, and the food that just stays in the fridge that are preserved and they stay longer, you wonder sometimes how the hell, and I get it, that also helps because now we have the food longer, but it's also the choices that we make and how we can make conscious, smarter choices to avoid food waste. But yes, this is my favorite part because we cannot have an episode without statistics. Food waste in the US is actually excessive. 40% of all food produced in the US is wasted. The food is also expensive. Uneaten food at retailers, restaurants, and at homes costs $161 billion annually. Food waste is environmentally harmful. It makes up 20% of the landfill weight, the single largest municipal waste source. The methane released by food is a greenhouse gas 21 times more powerful than carbon dioxide. This information was provided by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and Environment Protection Agency. 45% of root crops, fruit, and vegetables produced globally is lost or wasted per year. 25% of the food wasted globally could feed all 795 million undernourished people in the world. 8% of all greenhouse gas emissions each year are due to food lost and waste. This information was provided by StopFoodWaste.com. Food spoilage accounts for 60% of food waste. In all honesty, I gathered a list of things, of like ways you can help reduce food waste, and it's actually simple things that you could do to actually better yourself and the environment we live in. If you want to reduce food waste, do not buy bulk. Plan what you'll need for the week and make sure you have the means to store it. So plan your meals. Compost your kitchen scraps. Allow your kitchen waste to decompose into compost, offering a way to fertilize and improve soil. It's a helpful method that gives back to the planet rather than harming it once it arrives at the landfill. Support local food producers. Support your local food producers. Support your local food vendors. Anybody that is in your local food, like a farmer's market or something like that, support them. And eat food that is grown, that is in season, because it also reduces your carbon footprint. Always eat your leftovers. Use less water. If you can, donate food that will otherwise be wasted, depending on when you work at a restaurant, at a place that like bakeries and things like that. I know there's a lot of laws against that, depending on where you live and things like that. So make sure you read into that so you are able to properly donate these foods. Eat the ugly veggies. Even if they don't look aesthetically pleasing, they still taste the same. Share your meals at restaurants if they are too big. Take home leftovers, and again, always eat your leftovers. You could take them for work as a lunch or eat them again as a dinner for the next night. Always make a shopping list to avoid buying double. So always look at your pantry to make sure that these products that you are going to buy, you don't have them again, to avoid buying double. But what are some ways you reduce food waste at home, school, or work? Share your tips with us by leaving us a comment on this video. Now, I am conscious of all the food waste and things like that. I always eat my leftovers, and I always try to encourage other people, like, hey, if you're not going to eat that, just leave it here or whatever, after dinner, and I'll eat it, because at the end of the day, that is still good food that you could still refrigerate, or just keep it wrapped up and make sure that that you are able to eat it instead of just leaving it aside and letting it spoiled. But these are little things that Most people don't like leftovers. I'm not too sure why. It depends on the person themselves. But we do waste a lot of food, and we don't realize that until we see the magnitude and how it is affecting our world, and how bad the landfills are becoming, and the gas emissions and all of that. And we have to be more conscious about it. And this is why I'm making this episode, to be honest with you, because there are so many ways we actually could help the environment instead of hurting the environment. We don't have to follow anybody's footsteps in how to live our lives, but if we want to live in this earth for a little bit longer and make sure we do live our fullest lives here until whenever, we have to make sure we are making the best of it right now by trying to help ways to reduce your carbon footprint, the food waste, and all of things. So there are plenty of ways you could help, and as long as you become a conscious adult, and just like what you're feeding yourself and your children and your family and your friends, whatever they're eating also, it affects us all, But yes, I do want to share some quotes with you all. Still one of my favorite segments to do. And I hope that these quotes are eye-opening to you as well. Just like the statistics I just read. Sometimes it takes to read something to realize, holy crap, what can I do to help? And here are some quotes. Throwing away food is like stealing from the table of those who are poor and hungry. Pope Francis. If we could stop wasting food, imagine how many more people we could feed. Dana Cowan. Food. Buy it with thought. Cook it with care. Use less wheat and meat. Buy local foods. Serve just enough. Use what is left. Don't waste it. U.S. Food Administration. Food, for some, a snack. For some, a day's meal. And there's a banana in the picture. Don't waste food. Someone sleeping empty stomach. Omer Said. And our last quote for today. We should all grow our own food and do our own waste processing. We really should. Bill Gates. And this last quote made me think of a couple of years ago when I lived in Florida. Having your own garden was illegal. Because I remember mine got shut down. But the law here, it was that you couldn't do your own vegetable garden. They told me to take it down and not to set it up again. And now the law has changed that you are allowed to have your vegetable garden with no problem at all. And I feel like that is the best way to also reduce food waste, because you are growing your own food like other farmers do, and it's seasonal, and again, using the scraps for soil, fertilizing it and things like that. I think it's a great method to do it. Again, always buy local. I know it's always easier to just go to a big supermarket, and go there instead. But that's actually not reducing your carbon footprint, because it takes a lot for the trucks to go from wherever they are to wherever they need to go when the food is not seasonal, and just fill the freaking supermarkets with foods that are not in season. And that's actually really expensive to do too. So on my final thought is, be conscious of what you buy, be conscious of what you eat and how you throw it away or how you dispose of it or what you do with it. Be conscious of your surroundings, be conscious of your carbon footprint, and just realize we only have one earth, one body, and even though it's temporary, in our soul, if you believe in that, will go on, blah, blah, blah. But I just feel like take care of what we have now. That is more important. Be compassionate adults. make compassionate children, and we need to hope for the better future. We need to hope for the best, and just hope that the next generation, the next world that comes up is a better one, and that we have finally learned our lessons, that we are all connected, and if we help each other make this world a better place, we can actually have a healthy living earth. And even though the earth will continue without us, because we're the ones actually causing harm to it, and we know this, but at least try to help it. Let's try to plant more trees. Let's try to reduce our food waste. And with that being said, thank you all for again staying to the end of this episode, for listening, for being there, for learning something with me. And I want to hear from you all. Share your thoughts, share your ideas on food waste, or what you do at your house, and just let us know. And thank you so much to everyone. And like I always say, stay fearless, everyone.